Part 2 of the SoulSpark workshop. Welcome. And we are working together with several people looking at knowledge and wisdom as the worksheet that we are starting with. And email address and add you to the board and you can work on it on your own. What we're doing today is actually investigating and talking about some of the character strengths and virtues that are on that mirror board for you to build your sparks with. And this is a greater exploration here we're moving through. So just look at all of those badges, because that can be overwhelming for a lot of people to start with. And we are intending on making it even easier and more simple in the future. And again, this is a part of building, you know, you being here, helping us with these challenges, with our connections and working online together and working on the mural board together, how those dynamics are being affected and how we can better mold and shape this so that more people can easily interact with it. And I really appreciate, Eric, that you have the patience and you're doing everything to get this working. Awesome.
We can hear you.
And Inger is joining us again, and so we will get everybody back on the worksheet. So this is just the worksheet that has us exploring more about each of these character strengths and virtues. And we've been talking about the feelings now. We went and asked about the qualities, and we identified some of the qualities that we individually have recognized that are indicative of the character, virtue, knowledge, and wisdom. The next question here is about feelings. And how do you feel when you act in a place of knowledge and wisdom? And so, yeah, if you want to share a little bit, each of you, about what you feel when you are acting with knowledge and wisdom.
Safe and empowered.
Stephen said safe and empowered. I don't know if you heard that.
I didn't. Thank you. And when you were talking earlier about qualities identifying competence, I would say confidence is something that I feel when acting with knowledge and wisdom.
Feel more grounded.
More grounded. I like that one.
And efficient. Meets my need for efficiency.
I feel connected and in
Not
tune.
efficienter. I'm sorry?
I feel connected and in tune with the flow of life. Similar to grounded and ease and happy, but yeah, connected and in tune with the flow of life, I think.
I feel like my ancestors are coming through me.
Yes.
They agree. Look at the climbing vine.
Yeah, right. That's what I was saying. Sounds like they agree. This question is about our needs. And this has to do with, like, for this subject, what do you need to experience more knowledge and wisdom in your life?
Sleep. Need a good night's sleep.
I would say access to mentors, educators, and
Experience more knowledge and wisdom.
information. That's on the practical end, but sleep is important for any of this to be absorbed for sure. Anyone want to add any others to this?
I want to just, I guess maybe just like, I don't know how you put this, but like time. I mean, I want to say like time for meditation, but almost more like time to process and let your intuition like give you insight. You know, time and space in your life so that insight can come to you and wisdom.
Time for internal processing.
Great.
I need personally to actually have the key to the library once again. Absolutely, you know, I just actually need access to the library. That'd be great.
Right?
So
now we get into a part of this worksheet where we're talking about who do we identify in our communities as expressing knowledge and wisdom and sharing their knowledge and wisdom with others.
what kind?
This can be.
What are you defining as community? Do you mean our internet community, our global community, our physical community, our household community? Like what kind of community?
It can be all of the above. I know it's a lot to think about, and I don't expect a whole bunch of answers right now. I'm sure there are a lot of different ways you can look at it, but ones that you can immediately identify right now that you respect and regard as being expressive and sharing their knowledge and wisdom with others.
You're looking for names, like names of individuals.
Okay, so yes, in a sense we'd like names, but mainly it's the role. So like we could even say educators as one category. We could say
The children.
children, there we go,
Elders.
and elders.
Sacred clowns.
I have very little knowledge of the sacred clowns. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Like there's a real sector of real clowns, like people that are their magic is their medicine is in their stories and their silly songs and their the way they interact with people,
Like
and,
jesters.
yeah, like jesters, but like on more of a cosmic level. The spiritual clown. We have quite a few in the community.
I've seen clowns as always the ones to clean up the messes. Like if an elephant gets out of control, what does a clown do? The clown comes in and distracts the audience while the tamers take the elephant out.
Yeah, sacred clowns are usually people that are oftentimes they're really misunderstood by other people, and they do use humor. Lots of times they're kind of annoying to mainstream people. They stir up chaos. They bring humor and joy and laughter. Lots of wisdom for sure.
For sure. And you know, as far as this worksheet is concerned, if you wanted to do like for your own personal files, like if you don't want to add names that can be accessed by others, then you can add names there for your own personal use. It's helpful though, especially when we're looking at connecting our communities and the wise sages together, that they have access to these resources, have access to these individuals who are superheroes that are willing to share their knowledge and wisdom with others. So, and I don't expect you to do that right now, because I know that would be you grabbing information specifically to write down there. But that's something that we do want to see happen at some point in time, just to help our communities better connect. So the next question is about shadow identifier. And that's our opposite. So what would be some of the opposites of each of us individually if we allow ourselves? So I may have knowledge and wisdom, but if I'm in a negative space, I'm not going to share that with anybody. I'm going to be appearing like I'm upset or closed-minded. That's what I would think of a person who doesn't have the ability to gain knowledge and wisdom, as that they're being closed-minded.
Fearful people who are fearful, or rigid thinking. Even positive rigid thinking, still not
positive, right?
Lack of curiosity.
Oh, ooh, that's a good one, Stephen. Lack of curiosity.
What are your thoughts on the subject? How can you empower more knowledge and wisdom in your life? What are some thoughts on that?
Well, I guess my thoughts would kind of come from the exercise, because superheroes who provide this, and also, you know, make sure that you're getting your needs met, what your needs are, wisdom and knowledge. And we laid out some of these things, so it kind of like writes itself for me, like how I would proceed forward in terms of gaining more wisdom and knowledge, or feeling more of that in my life.
Connections of empowerment.
Just remain open. Be grounded. Be patient. Find hope. To pull me through the toughest times that I think.
We're echoing.
Yes.
Take a deep look at the things that you say, because those are the things that you yourself need to practice. Listen to what people are saying. You'll know what they need to practice. So, you know, being mindful of your speech and the things that you're saying to other people. I definitely learned that.
Be aware of what you're attracting and creating.
Yeah. How are you contributing to the chaos around you? What is your part in the things that are being created? Whether it's beneficial or not beneficial, or what is your participation in what's being created? Yeah, that's a good one. I'm so glad you guys are here.
Looking at what are the tools we're using. What are some of the tools you use to bring fresh knowledge and wisdom in your life?
I think another tool is knowing that you don't know everything. That's a great tool. Spells and magic.
Right? It's a good tool.
It'd be easier to work with them if they just moved here.
All right.
Feel release.
Magic transformation. When you're looking at your family environment, whether that's a biological family or your tribe family that you're living with, and this goes into that personal relationship and
Express it through acts of service.
okay.
Listening and holding space. Sharing resources.
Being good teachers.
Let's see if I manage to myself. I can't see the words as they're coming onto the page. It's more difficult. See where my fingers are into it. It works this time. Right. That's a good list there. When you look at the external community, what do you see as how they're promoting knowledge and wisdom in the community?
This community.
Well, our community holds meditation classes and teaches
Okay.
things like nonviolent communication classes and stuff like that.
Permaculture. Again, acts of service. Fire circle.
All right.
Eating together. Building
Like
something.
I would like to take this moment now to go back to our mirror board, because in looking at all of the aspects we just listed, we connect the spark based on what we have just talked about. So, waiting for the to be restored. with knowledge and wisdom, we have some badges that we can add now. So we're looking at, perhaps I need to explain it bigger. Hold on. Let me expand this a little bit so that we can see the entirety of the board. All right. We have talked about community. That we here in sectors of society, we have social aspects that are part of this. Mentorship and apprenticeship would be a badge or icon that we can take and we drag. Abracadabra, come on. All right. And then you were talking about education as being another area where we have people working knowledge and wisdom. And probably art and science, art and music, I mean. So those three community propulsion sectors that we've identified with in use of knowledge and wisdom. I'm sorry?
I was pointing to art and music. We didn't even put any of that on
Art
there.
and music. We didn't even put any of that on there.
That was that one, yeah.
We're already a church. We were already like a in all of these sectors.
We could go on and add probably more, but at this moment, I would say let's start with just those three. And then over in the strategy, I'm even going to look at the SDG right now because this is about knowledge and wisdom. And so we're working on humor as one of the areas we were talking about with the clowns, sacred clowns, like be a badge we take for
Spirituality. That's a huge one.
I don't think we heard much of what you just said. It's still very choppy. We're getting that echo again, kind of.
Are we calling in echo? Is that what's happening? Echo.
Is that what's happening? Echo.
I don't know, it might be because again, I have the video on, so I'm going to turn the video off again and see if that helps any. Working on this bandwidth is silly, but if anybody out there that watches these videos and finds some benefit to this, we would appreciate that you send us a little donation. We are a nonprofit registered in the state of Wyoming, and we are still in beta development testing here. This is all just a test right now. So everything that we're learning and talking about today and this whole process, you know, we want people to get involved and to participate in any level that they can, whether that is through donation at greatworksalliance.com. You can visit there and click the donate button. We have PayPal, and I'm going to be putting my Venmo QR code on there as well. Social intelligence, I believe, is one of the topics we've been discussing here today in relation to knowledge and wisdom. So we're starting to build a spark here. Now, the spark's main focus, of course, we're talking about the knowledge and wisdom. So I'm going to make that larger.
Started with that. I think it's great that you started with knowledge and wisdom.
Right? It's a pretty good anchor to start with. And I didn't start with it. It was the random picker that started with it. I had nothing to do with it. Yes. Yeah, right?
It's only my life's
I
purpose.
clicked the wheel. It spun. I stopped the wheel and it came on to wisdom and knowledge. I'm like, yes, okay, let's do that. All right, so I just have a few icons. We can add more icons to this since we are all a part of this team building this spark together. I invite you at any time today or within the next week to help build it out. And I will keep adding to it. So I'm going to put names here, just the first names, not last names. It is up to you whether or not you want to share more information about yourselves and contacts and so forth. Meta. So we're looking at that sacred clown in relation. I'm thinking that we'll put these community propulsion sectors we're identifying with down here in a row.
Hi.
If you want to change it, do
Excuse me.
so. And we can even attach arrows to these badges from one to another. And that is the pointer connection line. We can do straight lines. That is not a straight line. There. All right, let's see. Right there. And although the badge isn't showing up right now, if I refresh it, how am I doing, everybody? Are we doing okay? I might have to stop the share for a moment so it can refresh. Yes, it will be great when we have everything more streamlined and I don't know, easier to access, I suppose is the word I need to be using at the moment. But what do you think so far, Jenny?
How do we take this information and use it as a
How do
practical
we
application
take
for
this
project we're
information and
working
use
on?
it as a practical application for the project we're working on?
Good question. Well, so what we did today is looking at wisdom and knowledge and what it means to each of us. The way we can use this for a business practical application is very much along the lines of identifying those community sectors that we have here and what that organization is most focused on. If the organization is most focused on science and technology, then they would be looking at those two icons, adding to them the different pieces that they want to have in combination with those. When that start or that organization has been developed, it then becomes a visual representation implementation of the main mission or purpose of an organization. They can then take that spark and organize what importance factors there are in character strengths and virtues of the people that they want involved in the project or the business. Teamwork, compassion, creativity, or if you want to be an educator, you might have also investigation as a character strength that you're looking for in teachers, because they need to investigate to make sure that the information they're educating their students with is the most up-to-date information. At least that's the hope for the educator to want to be able to have that up-to-date information. I went through the human resource management course a few years ago, and the teacher straight up said, this edition is 6 years old, but this is the edition that we have available for this course, because the course was set for that edition, right? My counter to that, because one of the issues that came up had to do with people with disabilities in the workforce, was that they were not showing the ADA regulations concerning people with disabilities as being an issue that people in human resource management must have knowledge and information about. We want to have efficiency, but we also want to make sure that, you know, if there are values that a business has that are personal values and character, virtues, and strengths, that the people that they're attracting share those values. And it makes it just more simple for them to see a visualization, a visual representation of what those are. I can show you an example actually of one Zeek did, and he was unfortunately unable to continue being at today's meeting because he had another appointment that he had to attend to. But here, let me zoom out and I'll show you a couple of organizational sparks. Okay, so this one here for coherent loving beings. Zoom.
Oh my God, we're going back to hieroglyphics again.
Well, yeah, being able to have something that's going to be easily translated into multiple languages is really far more effective when we're going and working across borders, I believe.
Invite her.
So for coherent loving beings, his main focus is love, right? And then he's looking at supporting and inspiring leadership, mindfulness, which requires courage, and we're looking at teamwork and perseverance to bolster each other up. And then you look at, let's see, who's this? Milan, who's working with Zeek. He's got some badges that connect here. So like the mindfulness badge. All right, there's an agreement there. The gratitude badge. Okay, we can agree there. It doesn't matter what the shape of your organism or soul spark is. That's up to you. When you show that you have certain virtues and values that you're putting in the forefront and saying, these are the most important to me, it's easier to make those connections with people and projects that are more in alignment with how you want to engage.
So this is a part of group cohesion stuff for that.
Yes.
For reboot. I'm talking to Eric about how this would be incorporated into the reboot program as onboarding.
Cool.
We have 4 sectors for the reboot, and part of it is relationship with people in community and team building. And there's a
Okay.
sector for
So
game.
so you could even build a spark for that project itself.
Mhm.
And then add individual sparks to that. That's where we get even more in depth into creating tiles for each individual project.
So the question, how
So
would
we have some,
how would
Go
this
ahead.
tie into being able to be used with the avatar in Civil X?
Yes, good question. So we are working with Jordan. He's working on the avatar side, and the way that it would be connected is through that profile. And you can add pictures into the profile and stuff. And then the avatar that you're presenting, that's why we look at the superpowers for each of these character strengths and virtues. You can have more than one avatar, like you could have rotating avatars when you're feeling one way or another, right? And it's always good to have that baseline representation of these character strengths and virtues. When you look at any kind of comics books and stuff, they hone in on their main hero character as having one or two possibly, but normally it's one strength and virtue that they're identifying with, they've identified with. So for Superman, what comes to mind when you think about Superman as far as a character strength or virtue?
Justice.
Hmm?
Justice.
Right? He was big into justice. So that would be something that you would be able to identify with your avatar, saying that if you wanted Superman to be your avatar, then you would say justice is going to be in my soul spark, and I want to nurture that justice spark so that I can become more like the superhero or avatar that I identify with. And that's how you make that correlation and relationship. So if you, like, for example, firefighter, somebody has their superhero is a firefighter. Well,
Flame.
what are some of the, huh?
I said flame.
But what are some of the character strengths and virtues of being a firefighter that
Courage.
come up? Right? Courage, bravery, perseverance, possibly. Because you got to go into a burning building and continue going into that burning building until you have found and saved everyone that might be in there, despite all of the heat that's getting at your neck and stuff. So that's how we would be tying those two pieces together. Spirituality was another one we were talking about with knowledge and wisdom. That's essential.
Well, I mean, the main focus, the absolute core is love. Absolute core. And then, yeah, spirituality and truth and reconciliation. Those are definitely. Like if I was doing a spark for myself, like it would be knowledge.
Okay.
The center would be love.
My mouse doesn't want to work right. Sorry. Ah,
I'm having a problem with
think I
mice
need
in
to
my
zoom
house
in.
too. Oh, what is, oh yeah. This is great because this is actually my soul's purpose, is this understanding of the definition of the word love. So that's, and it is interpreted differently to everyone.
There are 3 different types of love, and people keep wanting to change everything because people just have a concept of one type of love.
Mhm.
And in psychology, there's agape love, eros love, and philia love. So do you know the definitions of those 3?
Yep.
Most people don't. So we want to be able to expand that understanding for more people to grasp that this idea of love is kind of multifaceted.
Mhm. For me, it's an understanding of the 3 within the same.
Now, the current icon for love is just 1 heart. That these badges were originally designed based on the core character strengths and virtues by the psychology community. I've developed this one here, the spirituality badge. And in the worksheets, if you click on love, I actually go in depth as to the 3 different types of love, and the badge has 3 hearts stacked on top of each other because they're each of them is important. And although some people would say if you have agape love, you can't really have any other kind of love because agape love is all love, like loving everything. But yeah, no, I've had some psychologist teachers tell me that if I have agape love, then I can't really have eros love or philia love. I'm looking at them, I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I can do all of them. That's what we want to do, right?
It's layered. It's so layered. And of course, our lenses play a factor. Our experiences, our traumas and dramas all put a lens on all of it.
Yeah. And you know, at any time that you're on this board, you can of course click on any one of these links to go to the worksheet that it's linked to. I have also added a link at the top of each of these categories to link to the whole file. So there's a whole folder for each of these categories, except for the community propulsion sectors I'm still working on. But here I'm opening this one about love because we're talking about love, and love is important to all of us. Absolutely. That's why I opened this room today, saying that we're joining together here in love and compassion, opening our hearts up and sharing this personal information, this personal lens, helping to nurture our individual sparks and also the community sparks that are developed through this process. And I hope that you all are enjoying it and are getting something great out of it. Waiting.
She was wanting a response, right? Was that a rhetorical statement?
No, I was waiting on. I'm sorry, I was waiting on the page to. But my question was,
yes, helpful.
Are you benefiting from this exercise? Have you found some new thoughts and that you weren't originally thinking about?
I only heard half of it.
I think it is better when she turns off her video.
It's better when she turns off her video.
Leave your audio on.
Is that better?
So what I was asking was, is that better?
I think
Okay.
so.
And then my question is, are you benefiting from this? Do you think that this is a good exercise? We're walking through this workshop here. I would love your input. What things that need to be improved on, aside from our internet connection, which of course, yes, we know.
Yeah, the tech is hard. The tech not working properly really messes up the connectedness. I'm still very curious, so that's a positive thing.
Well, it is a positive thing.
Yeah, I was wondering, is the intention, this is just like that beta, is the intention that it's all kind of on one app and not going to be different links to like people after eventually it's all like in an app?
Well, now it's my turn to say I only heard half of that.
Steven, that's not very stable, that your left foot.
That's not very stable, that your left foot.
I was wondering what the where this is in the development process and how you see it, like the final form. Is it going to be all contained in sort of like one application?
There's actually going to be a couple of different ways we're looking at this. So there is going to be one application that will have links to the worksheets and all of the data and the ability for people to interact and create their own organizational structures and then habitate with their own little community bubble. There's also the other part we're looking at, like with Civil X, Catalyst, and a few other social networking platforms that are coming out right now, in integrating some of these processes and some of the information there as well. So it will be mirrored to a certain extent in the social platform that it is on the app that's going to be the floating app. The floating app should be able to include the worksheets if people want to get into that much detail. We want to make sure that everybody is able to nurture their sparks. So however that happens is going to be an individual process. I believe that the possibility is out there for just the creation of the organisms or the sparks. Should be an easy app to create as long as we have all the connections, because we're wanting to be able to provide solutions through this interconnectivity. When you as an individual create your spark, we want to be able to provide opportunities for you to get out and help nurture your spark, whether it is going to your local community center for an event or music events, education, the ability to audit and put in your information about what you're recognizing in your community that may be lacking. Or, you know, all of this still being tied into your SoulSpark. And so the assignments would be catered based on what you've developed as your SoulSpark, how you want to participate. what your focuses are, what your cares are, what you want to share.
I'm seeing it as a quick way to look at someone and see quickly how they fit into your working community or a business or a project or whatever. Quickly, like nope. You're like looking at characteristics.
Yeah, I think what's cool is that you can see both similarities between organizations, and you can also see where they complement. See where they match and they can team up, and also where they can bring different things to the table.
Exactly. And people ask, well, what about the negative badges? Well, that's going to be another set, and it's not really what we want to focus on. We want to focus on nurturing the positive sparks. If there's some needs or shadows that a person is dealing with, that's why we have this section in blue. We have part of that section is needs. So if somebody needs more courage in their life, you're creating a puzzle piece that identifies you. And then if somebody says, oh, well, you're missing this, but I have this in droves, let's connect and get socially working together because I want to help you. I have a passion that you mirror, and you seem to be needing a few things that I actually have. Let's try to find some way we can find coherence. And so this whole SoulSpark is identifying how we can find that coherence.
Something interesting that I was thinking about, just looking at Zeek's spark, and I was looking at the next person's spark next to it, that all the people that would say that heart is the focus, those are the people I'd want to work with right away.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you know, and so that makes it so much easier for you to find the people that are going to have that coherence that you're looking for. All right, now here's the serious part. What do you think should be changed on this to make it more user-friendly and engaging?
We call it lovingly critical feedback.
Yes.
The tech, the Zoom.
The Zoom.
Most of the time, with as much trouble as we had with the tech. Zoom and not come back at all. Even if I paid for it.
Okay. Well, we are working on that. In fact, Jody came in, when she came in today, she was talking about how she's gonna help with fundraising. So currently we're in that fundraising phase for the SoulSpark game development and getting these activities, the workbooks. Ingermeta has a couple of schools, and one is in Pakistan, but she's gonna be start working on these workbooks. We also have a board that I'm developing. I haven't finished developing it yet. Some of my thoughts are that it's going to be a spiral to start with.
Yep.
Where you start actually in the center of the spiral. And as you develop your spark, you're going out into the world, out of the spiral and into the world. And so, yeah, I mean, that's one of the areas that I'm working on next. But I wanted to make sure that I had at the very least the worksheets ready for people to start. We need to be asking these important questions. need to be exploring what's going on in our community and what resources are available for us to make this more effective, to be able to build these teams that are strong and resilient and not falling apart because the resources are not there for them, or the cohesion isn't there for them.
I think one of the things that could be really useful is getting people together, play 20-minute games and then be done.
20-minute games and then be done.
And then do something with the result of it.
And then do something
Real short.
of it. Real short.
Okay. Like if we had like a breakout rooms and we had 20 different breakout rooms, for example, or just 17, and 2 people went in one room and played the game and did whatever they feel empowered to do. I mean, this is a very flexible stage right now. And then have them come back and report on what they've discovered in their discovery process, right? Is that what you're talking about, Jenny?
Yep. Which means in order to have that many rooms, you have 20 people to know all about the game.
Yes.
So you need to recruit people. That are like your cheerleaders. For the game.
One step at a time.
You know me, I'm always 10, 12.
Right?
Okay. Now, are you creating this into a physical board game as well?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Actually, I can even show you what I've done so far. When we look down below, I haven't got the spiral board yet, but here, I'll show you some of what I have already in the works. So we have a set of rules that Internet and I worked on developing. It needs to be updated, of course, and this is about the triple ripple effect, where a group of people is invited in, we spend time in the group. All right. We have cards, or at this point, it's that spinning wheel. And we're giving people this, like you're looking at different phases. So the first level of these phases is to share what that card means to them, or what that's where the workbook comes into play, right? We have several different ways that we can develop this. We have plans to create both rectangle cards and hexagonal construction pieces. So like the second level would be where the player is asked to express action relating to the card or the wheel choice. And then the third would be for the player to be given a mission to complete with 2 to 4 other players, right?
The feeling that
so each player would grab. I'm sorry?
I'm thinking something that just keeps coming up that doesn't go away. For you to meet Jai in the Infinite World game and talk to them. For about X the game.
We would love that. Right? But I mean, these are some of the rules that we've come up with. We have some others that are over here that we've come up with. And any rules and ideas that you have when you're working on it, you can write down in a tile too. We're building this. It could be a whole bunch of different games, all within this playground. We have the labyrinth. I don't know if do you know about the labyrinth, Jenny?
Mm-mm. No.
No.
On Roman coins, the 7-channel labyrinth, this labyrinth here, was on their coins. This labyrinth actually has a lot of value to it and has been studied in detail by people who are working with children suffering with autism and other mental dissonance or issues, you know, or alternatives. And they found that when these children used their fingers and drew with their fingers on a wooden board, so one pointy finger would go left and the other would go right, it actually balanced the brain chemistry so that they were no longer suffering from symptoms of erraticness and inability to process information. I'm working on getting colors to this, adding colors. So, you know, that's another part that I've done some research into to make more accessible. And then later on, I want to be able to create a board that's this is a more complicated labyrinth. This has the 4 different sectors of our, we could call them elements. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet how to set these boards up yet. But yeah, we've been doing some work. I think this is the link. There's a link somewhere here I put in for how that information has been shared, investigated by this community that's working with children with autism. I think it might actually be this one.
There's something here with
Nope.
this.
Okay, I'll have to find that again. I'm sorry?
I was just talking out loud to Eric and saying there's something.
I was just talking out loud to Eric and saying there's something here. This.
Well, you guys have been invited to participate in helping develop this so that we can take it to the mainstream and start helping people become more in tune with their empathic selves. And then build their teams that are going to be strong and stable and not fall apart. We've seen a lot of these different groups and their projects where they call team members together to participate, and it doesn't hold together for very long. It ends up falling apart. And the idea with this game is that we want to be able to provide a way for those projects to get the team members that are going to stick around, that want to stick around and want to nurture their sparks by being involved with that project. And with that, I will say thank you again for being here and bearing with us with the internet connections we've been having a difficulty with. And I hope that as we continue expanding our communication and connection with others by continuing to work on in this workshop, that we can bring something really amazing out into the world. There's opportunities all over the place, from the United States to Switzerland to India and beyond. They are interested in the SoulSpark game and the whole SoulSpark City idea that we're also working with Inger Meta and Ed Lance and Bill Mazza to help develop. We look forward to providing, you know, enough content for the November COP26 event and bring some kind of a visual experience to people in the Boston area, because there's the dome there that Ed Lance has already said would be a good place for us to start. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that are going to be opening up as we continue developing SoulSpark Game. And so I really appreciate you being here and sharing some of your perspectives with us on this, Geni and Eric and Steve. I include all three of you because you've done great. And Inger Meta, as always, such a wonderful supporter of what we're doing here. And this is about that collaboration and finding that coherence together. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to show something that's in beta. How hard it is to keep interest when things are in beta and trying things out.
Right?
Yeah. How things can turn completely different than what it starts with.
Well, I think today was a success.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm super excited and proud of you all for being here and you know, taking the time out of your days. We all are trying our best to do everything we can to raise the consciousness here, and so it is just a wonderful thing to have you here and doing that with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to showing you the onboarding and showing you that program, so you'll see why I'm so interested in doing.
Yeah, I would love to. When do you want to do that? Because I mean, we're all about meshing and finding ways to mesh this into other systems, because it's an overlay and it's your option how you want to play.
Eric, she could sit in on the data. We're having a dry run. Presentation in 25 minutes. 25 minutes. You the link and you could sit in.
Okay, sure.
It's at 4 o'clock.
It's at 4 o'clock.
All right, good. Hey, that's great. Now we can all take a break, do a little bit of internal perspective and see where we can go from there. I'm loving this, and I'm wanting to make sure that we're all nurturing our sparks. It's about the nurturing of your sparks, because far too often we end up losing that passion and drive because people aren't around us to be able to build that spark of courage and strength up. And so I think that if we just continue connecting and collaborating and working together and building each other's sparks, we're going to have so much more fun and excitement brought into the process of connecting and collaborating. So you just send me that link. I love it. I'd love to see what you guys are getting on with that onboarding process, and see how we can mesh them together and go from there.
Yeah, this one is specifically for community. To create basically a global citizen which is still onboarding, but it's there's a vision of it that will be used for businesses, collaboration processes,
collaborative processes.
We're having a problem. Sorry.
Sorry, we're lagging.
Sorry, we're lagging.
It's okay.
Say.
No worries. I'm looking at probably we might end up having a better connection next Saturday if all things go in the right direction, because we will be in a better location. Either next Saturday or the Saturday after that, one of those 2 Saturdays. We are currently still in the process of looking for a place to put the RV. And if you know anyone that might be able to provide just a parking spot with a good
Call Sarah.
mobile or not
Sarah.
Wi-Fi. Yeah, I talked with her. She was not ready. When I talked with her, she did not seem ready. She was.
We'll call this week.
When I talked to
Call
her.
this week.
Okay, I will.
All of us.
All
We've
of
got to
us.
go
Okay.
and
Gotta
prepare.
go
Sounds good.
and prepare.
All right. Have a great. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Inger, you still there? Perhaps she fell asleep. All right, well, I guess we are saying good day and good evening and good night and farewell, and we will talk to you all soon. Check out the activities and attend our next meeting. Our next workshop will start 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time next Saturday, and you can register by visiting greatworksalliance.com and clicking on the play button. Have a great day. Bye.